Eternal punishment is immoral and unjust. The idea that a loving God would subject anyone to infinite suffering. How does that align with the concept of divine love and mercy? It's a concept that's harmed humanity for centuries. From ancient texts to modern sermons, the threat of eternal damnation has been a powerful but evil tool to control people. It raises a lot of ethical questions. It just creates more problems than it solves. The fear it instills can lead to anxiety, guilt, and a distorted view of justice. The idea that we should spend our lives trembling before a deity who might toss us into a fiery abyss for all eternity, it's enough to give anyone existential indigestion. The psychological toll of such beliefs can be profound, affecting mental and emotional well-being. Imagine this: someone's holding a gun to your head, demanding you declare your undying love for a god. You might nod, you might even say the words they want to hear. Sure, you might say the words, but would you really mean them? Would those words carry any weight? That's the problem with coercion and belief. It's not genuine, it's forced. It's like trying to fit a square peg into a round hole. No matter how hard you try, you might force it, but it's never going to be a good fit. It will always be awkward and uncomfortable. Genuine belief has to come from a place of understanding, of genuine acceptance. It needs to be nurtured and grown. It can't be coerced through threats of eternal suffering. Fear should never be the foundation of any belief. That's not faith. That's just good old-fashioned extortion. Now, let's talk about morality, the things that make us decent human beings. Morality shouldn't be about fear. It shouldn't be about dodging divine retribution. Morality stems from empathy, from compassion. It's about understanding the human experience, the joys and sorrows that connect us all. It's about treating each other with kindness and respect, regardless of our differences. Threatening eternal damnation? That's not morality. That's just plain old bullying. And nobody likes a bully, especially not an all-powerful one. As humans, we have the right to make our own choices. We have the right to choose what we believe in, what we value, and how we want to live our lives. The concept of eternal punishment completely disregards this fundamental right. It assumes that we have no agency, no say in our own lives without being threatened. It's like being stuck on a runaway train, hurtling towards a destination we didn't choose. It's a violation of our autonomy, our fundamental right to chart our own course. Eternal punishment is a guilt trip. It's like having a roommate who constantly reminds you of that one time you forgot to take out the trash, except on a much grander, more terrifying scale. It's designed to make us feel small, insignificant, and eternally indebted to a higher power. It's emotional manipulation, plain and simple. And nobody appreciates being manipulated, especially not by an entity that claims to be all-loving and merciful. Let's face it, the idea of eternal punishment is about as verifiable as a unicorn riding a roller coaster on the moon. It's based on faith, on interpretations of ancient texts, and on a whole lot of assumptions. And yet, we're supposed to accept this unverifiable concept as a justification for a literal eternity of suffering. It's immoral and evil to say that if you don't go along with a particular set of beliefs, that you'll be tortured forever. Every human, regardless of their beliefs and their actions, possesses inherent dignity. It's what makes us human. The notion of eternal punishment completely disregards this inherent dignity. It reduces individuals to objects of divine wrath, stripping them of their humanity and condemning them to an eternity of suffering. It's destructive, disrespectful, and ultimately, a tragic waste of human potential. Nothing says love thy neighbor like eternal damnation. The concept of eternal punishment has been used to justify some pretty awful things throughout history. It's been a tool for oppression, for persecution, and for dividing people based on their beliefs. It's like a giant invisible wall, separating those who believe the right things from those who don't. And that wall, it's built on fear, on intolerance, and on a whole lot of assumptions about who's going where in the afterlife. To the whole heaven and hell dichotomy, it doesn't really make logical sense. If God is all-knowing, then God already knows who's going where. It's a cop-out to say that we send ourselves to hell, when an all-powerful God can prevent anything God wants to prevent. If God knows that someone will suffer forever and allows it to happen anyway when God can intervene and prevent it, then it means either God is immoral if God even exists, or God is not as all-powerful as many people believe to be true. Let's talk proportionality for a second. The idea that finite actions committed during our brief time on this planet could result in infinite punishment, that's like getting a lifetime ban from the library for accidentally returning a book late. It's completely disproportionate. It's like using a nuclear bomb to kill a fly. Sure, it gets the job done, but at what cost? The bottom line is we should choose reason over fear because nobody likes a bully, especially an omniscient one. So, where does that leave us? Making a choice. A choice that defines not just our actions, but our very essence and the world we wish to create. We can choose to live in fear of eternal punishment, constantly looking over our shoulders for signs of divine disapproval. This path is fraught with anxiety, suspicion, and a perpetual sense of dread. Or we can choose to embrace reason, compassion, and our shared humanity. By doing so, we foster a sense of community, understanding, and mutual respect. We can choose to build a world where morality is based on empathy, not on fear of retribution. A world where our actions are guided by love and kindness, rather than the looming threat of punishment. Don't forget to like, share, and subscribe to Freethinker's Journey.